Hello, today I'm going to do some calculation exercise from Aagaard's book Calculation. I'm going to do several examples which I think will be tough enough for me, and I hope you find it useful. So let's start. Let's start with that. This is black to move. I want to do with the flipped board because I think it will improve your... I would also suggest you to do that. I think it will improve your board vision and prophylactic thinking in general. So, what should I look here for black? Some sacrifice like rook f2, it doesn't look great. What else? Bishop takes b4, a, b, knight b4. That looks very tempting, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the way to go. Rook c1, maybe just queen c4. So bishop b4, a b4, knight b4. What do you do here? If you don't go rook c1, you can go f3 and then escape via f2. But takes, f3, knight c2, king f2, bishop, knight a1, bishop a1, rook a d8, king e1 back. I don't like it. If I go bishop h4 first, he goes probably g3 with queen e2 next. I don't like that. Queen e2, queen c2, rook b1. If he takes on b4 first, let's go back to that again. Could I just go queen c4 here? Although then he has rook a4 maybe. Rook a4 looks crushing. Something like knight d4. Well, what if he just takes? Take knight d2. He will castle. I don't know. It doesn't look great. Maybe I could go back to my... Oh, wait, maybe there's... Knight d4, e d4? And rook f2. And on king f2, rook f8. And if king g1, queen d4 is checkmate. If king e1, then bishop h4. g3 takes, queen takes, king e2, rook f2. No, king f2, queen f3, right? King e1, queen f2 mate. Yeah, I was thinking about rook f2 Oh, I have to clean the board. Wait a second. Ah, where's the arrow now? Shoot. Okay, it's clearing up right now. Okay. I was thinking about rook f2 first and then knight d4, but you don't take on d4 now. You can just waste one tempo on something else, on something more useful, and like maybe king g1 or I don't know what else, but it's not as forcing. But knight d4 first? Oh, it's a mess. Knight d4, you have to stop knight c2, so if you don't do that, if you go rook c1, what can you do next? Do you still go with rook f2 or? Ah, maybe you go bishop h4 now. Because on g3 he has knight f3. Yeah, that could be it. And by the way, when I think I'm finished with the puzzle, with the exercise, I will just check it by engine. Because I don't have a book besides myself, so besides me. And yeah, that's how it's gonna be checked. But I like what I'm seeing so far. Knight d4, e4, rook f2. What can he play? I also need to see every variation possible. I mean, humanly possible. If knight e2, then rook takes g2 looks devastating with bishop h4 next, and the king is just in very poor shape. So, what other defensive move does white have here? Besides rook c1, which allows bishop h4, sorry. Rook c1, bishop h4. I don't see anything. Knight d4. Aha, maybe there's a thing like queen b1. Oh, but after knight c2, king d1, rook f2, he cannot take my knight because of rook f1. If he takes, then his king is buried on d1, and after rook f1 takes, queen takes, it's checkmate. So a big drawback of doing puzzles unofficially like this is that arrows don't get cancelled. After I put them, I have to manually delete them, so it's a bit of a drag. But I think I will lock the knight d4 answer. I think I'll do it. Knight d4, e d4, rook f2. And to me it looks very dangerous to allow that. I mean, there's no knight e2, rook g2. You have to protect d2 as well, so you don't have some excursion with the queen, let's say to g4 to defend. And if you play bishop c1, for example, I can double my rooks on the f file and target f1. So I feel very optimistic about knight d4. Let's see, did I do it wrong? Knight d4. If he takes rook f2 is the move, yeah. And if let's say g3, just double. Knight e2, rook g2. I didn't see that particular line, but these moves are just so clumsy for white. If he goes rook c1, then bishop h4. And the point is on g3, there's knight f3. And you have to give up a queen like this, but it's over. It's over. So what does the engine say here? Rook c1, bishop h4. Oh, I didn't look any further than this. But there's queen f5. g3, this, king e2, rook a d8. Yeah, this is my bad. This was a bit negligent for me. d3, knight g1. Oh, this is nice. Wolf meow, hello. So knight d4, e4, rook f2. What? Yeah, we also told king f2, rook f8. If king g1, queen d4. And if king e1, bishop h4. With this checkmate. So yeah, this deserves a question mark or two. Okay, let's turn off the engine and try to solve the next one. It is black to move again. It is black to move, and I see some stuff like knight e2 with rook c5, but Michael, hello. Knight e2, bishop e2, rook c5. Is that good enough? Am I giving too much material for a queen? Knight e2, bishop e2. Aha, maybe I start with bishop f4, gf, rook e2. And that way I don't give up too much material. So something like this, bishop f4, and whatever he does I take on c5 now. And in the end of this line I'm going to... Because you see, if I go rook c5 immediately, then he can free his king to, for example, b2. And it doesn't look too great. Although there's rook a5 in that case. Huh. Wait, there's no rook a5. But this looks more forcing. This looks more forcing. Knight e2, you cannot really go to d2. Queen f3 is there, and if bishop e2, bishop f4 looks crushing. So oh, by the way, if you take on c5, then I take on f4, or take a bishop even. Oh, but if you take a bishop, knight e2. Huh. But maybe take, knight e2, bishop e2, bishop f4, gf, queen c5, bishop c4. Why is chess so tough sometimes? Knight e2, bishop e2, bishop f4, gf, rook c5. Sorry, gf, bishop f4. Yeah, gf, rook c5. And in the end, bishop on e2 hangs. That is rough. Takes, bishop f4, gf, rook c5. But he can still take on c5 and go bishop c4. Or just go bishop c4 immediately. Huh. No, that's not it. Aha, but maybe you first take on e2, threaten checkmate, so he doesn't have time to defend his c5 pawn. And then you take on c4 once he doesn't have defense on the c file. So it's maybe just knight e2, bishop e2, bishop f4, gf, rook e2, like in between move, and on rook d2, then rook c5. But it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. Knight e2, bishop e2, bishop f4, gf, rook e2, rook d2, rook c5, king d1. Aha, you might take on d2. If knight takes... Oh, where's my king? Where's my king, dude? Where's white's king? Knight e2, bishop e2, bishop f4, gf, rook c5. No, rook e2 first, rook d2, rook c5, king d1. Queen b1 check, king e2, queen e4. Is that the right? Yeah, I think so. King f2. Queen e3, king g2. Ouch. Not working out. Knight e2, bishop e2, bishop f4 takes. Rook e2, rook d2, rook c5, king d1. Rook d2, knight d2, queen g4. And if king e1, rook e5. Oh, rook e5, f4 is there. There's no such move as rook e5 there. Here. Rook c5, king d1. Rook d2, knight d2. Oh. I'm what? I am a pawn up right now. So in general, I don't have to do anything crazy to win the game. Knight e2, bishop e2, bishop f4, but I'm looking for something crazy. But can I? Wait, knight e2, bishop e2, bishop f4 takes. Rook e2, rook d2. Rook c5. King d1, and then maybe something slow like rook e3. Just having queen b1 as a threat and cutting off the king. It could be right, but I've done so many variations that I might mix up something. So knight e2, bishop e2, bishop f4. Things like rook d2 don't make sense because I can take on c5 and or just take on e2. So covering, not capturing the bishop is just a much worse version than what I'm looking for white. So knight e2, bishop e2, bishop f4 takes, take on e2. Now if knight d4, rook c5, oh, there's no coverage. Okay, you have to go, maybe you have to go rook d2, definitely. Rook c5, king d1, rook e3 in the end. And you threaten queen b1. Now, am I missing a defensive resource for white? Let's just go back. I think I singled out the only line that might be a problem. Knight e2, bishop e2, bishop f4, gf, Rook e2, rook d2. Also, how to save? Yeah, rook d2, rook c5. If you take with the queen, I don't really see it as a big problem. Queen takes c5, and I can play with the queen against rook and knight, because I have 2 extra pawns. So on rook c5, king d1, and now rook e3. Wait, but could I take on f3 actually? Oh no, there was no such thing. Yeah, I keep missing these new pieces on the board. I think rook e3 is good enough. I would go for it. I would go for knight e2. And let's check. Knight e2. Bishop e2, bishop f4, yeah. Rook e2, rook d2. Oh, it's just checkmate. Oh, d3 in the end. Didn't look for that. Oh, that's a brutal way to finish. Takes. Now if knight f3, rook c2. And if king g2, then you play very casually. You take on d2 and the king is just alone with his problems. So yeah, knight e2. Just to see what's... did my line work at all? Like here, rook c5. Did I see it correctly? Rook e3. Oh, rook e3 worked as well, but it's not as convincing because this is so forcing. Take. I mean, king d2, rook c2, and the king is also in big danger after queen e2 and other stuff. And with my line, white has to give up on c5 and continues playing. Something like this, and I mean, it's also a great line. If knight takes d4, then you take on f4, and white can't handle all this attacking potential with starting from the f pawn and then continuing with the rook, bishop, and queen. So it's not realistic to survive this. But yeah, I missed rook d2, and this is a quicker way. Because I only focused on queen c2 entries, I didn't... no, I saw queen g4, but I couldn't see from a distance. For some reason, I couldn't visualize d3. Okay. Next, black to move again. Black to move, and oh, it has to do something with the pin on the c file. Something like bishop e4 or things like that. bishop e4, and what if you just go back to e2 with the knight? Oh, maybe this is the point. So bishop e4, and if you move back... Ah, no, I missed. There's queen c1, knight c1, rook c1, king g2. But wait. Aha, but in the end I can also take a rook on d2, so it looks like I'm getting enough material. It doesn't look too convincing to me. Also, some pin on the d file looks quite interesting. But maybe I should revisit bishop e4. Bishop e4, knight e2, queen c1, knight c1. Oh, but this looks awful for white. You take the second rook in the end of this line. So on bishop e4 you have to consider maybe b3 or... Of course, knight, of course, fe you have to consider. But wait, if you go bishop e4 and he takes, knight takes, if you take back, queen c1 with bishop d2. 3 pieces for 2 rooks. Looks good enough. Bishop e4. What do I need to calculate further? Bishop e4, fe, knight e4. If you step aside by queen e1, knight d2, queen takes, and then you go e5, pinning this knight and winning the game, right? I think that's it. Bishop e4 takes. I don't even see how white's gonna play. I mean, how to challenge that move. Bishop e4. Bishop g5, but we could maybe simply go bishop c5 and create a second pin. Although then he might have this one. Maybe we don't have to make it dramatic with bishop e4, bishop g5, just go back to b7 and... Or maybe you go e5 and now all sorts of bishop c5 ideas are in the air, so... Bishop e4. I think that is the move. I don't know what else can I look for. If I look for... well, maybe b3. Bishop e4, b3. And queen c7. But then knight on c3 hangs. I think I'm gonna go with bishop e4 and I'm gonna see what I missed. Bishop e4 is the right move. On fe, knight e4. Oh, even knight g4 is okay. I mean, not like knight e4, but knight g4, let's say this. What did I... e5... I was looking very briefly at this in my head, but... oh, there's always bishop c5, so he cannot afford something like knight f5. Bishop c5 is there. Yeah, and what's the best move? Knight b3. Stopping this, but giving up. And this is why it's not the best, because in the end, queen b6 exists. And some problems on the back rank, I suppose. Because your queen is hanging and you cannot afford rook d2. Because of queen b8 and bishop has to move back and then you lose the queen. So you have to make your rook passive by rook a8, but white is still finding a way to prolong it. Something like this and the game goes on. I mean, it's not such an easy conversion. But bishop e4, fe, knight e4. If you go b3, then black takes. I didn't look at this line, if I'm being honest. Oh, this one is crushing, because even if you move your queen, let's say here, knight takes d2. Yeah, even though I got the move right, I think I failed this one. I should have looked at b3. Because other moves don't lead to a win, right? Queen c7, knight e6. Knight e6 is quite a nice move. Rook d8 and then you take on e4. So you need to go queen c3 here. Or bishop c3. And on bc4, bishop d2. And the point is, you have to move your queen now. But you take that, and in the end you take on c4. Yeah, I should have done a better job here. By queen c3. If this happens, queen c1, we looked at this very briefly. I mean, there's no chance this is good for white. -8. And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna do one more and that will be the end of the whole training. It is white to move. Just to mention once again, I want to flip the board because it's tougher, I would say. And yeah, it's tougher. Well, bishop d5 looks like a very obvious candidate. Bishop d5 and then something. The second one, knight e5, but I am not really buying it. Knight e5, fe, rook f1, king e8. I don't see where the attack is going. Like, maybe you have bishop d5, but oh, maybe I should continue on this line. Wait, 95 fe, rook f1, king e8, bishop d5. But I don't know what happens after rook c8. Do you simply go bishop e4? Bishop e4 could be devastating for black. But also, why would I not take on d5? Ah, maybe because you... So 95 fe, rook f1, you cannot step on the g file because of rook g1, and I hope that's winning. Rook f1, king, well, king e7 looks like I'm just allowing a lot of tempi, like, but wait, I'm not allowing anything. But still, bishop d5 works. Bishop d5, and if rook d8... Aha, but you never have queen d4 as an answer now because of queen g5 check and losing a queen. So that's nice. 95 fe, rook f1, king e7, bishop d5, and yeah, you can go for, if you go rook d8, bishop c6. So yeah, I would go for king e8 instead. But maybe I'm quitting too soon on this variation. What is... So 95 fe, rook f1, king e7, bishop d5. Let's just say we don't take on d5, we go rook a7. Ah, but still maybe bishop c6, right? Bishop c6 is a bitch. Bishop c6, and then we don't have a good way. But what's wrong with bishop d5 immediately? Does he have some intermezzo like bishop h6 or... I was looking at this move, but... And let's say on this, what's wrong with now? Knight e5. Aha, maybe now when I gave up so much material, I can step... Black can step on g file, actually. And if I do first only a knight sacrifice, I force him to get to the e file, where it's much more dangerous. But it's just a lazy way to avoid calculation. I'm doing some calculation, but not to the fullest. Not the way it's supposed to be done, the proper way. Knight e5, fe, rook f1, king e8, bishop d5. With some bishop c6 stuff. Yeah, let's see this line. Let's see what's happening on... So, knight e5, fe, rook f1, king e8, bishop d5, rook a7. How do I... what do I even do here? Queen e3 maybe, or... Queen e3, queen e5. Damn, this is... This might be the toughest one. But toughest for the finish, for the end. 95. Takes rook f1. Hello, Peter. How are you? .95. Yeah, I'm gonna go for this with this 95. But wait a second, let's think a little bit. 95, fe, rook f1, king e8, bishop d5, rook a7, queen e3. Let's say rook c7, queen e5. That's killing it, right? That's killing it. And the point behind rook a7 was to stop ideas such as bishop c6 and those kinds of nonsense. Avalanche projects. What? Triglau? Yeah, let's see what's the move. Bishop d5 starts with bishop d5. What's wrong with this? Come on. It should work. It's +3, so rook a7. Let me see if I was correct. Bishop c6. Oh yeah, bishop c6 even here, but I was looking at queen d4 and what's... Oh, some subtleties like this. But you know what's the best move? The best move was bishop d5. And if bishop c6, bishop c6. And you have to give up an exchange because queen d7 comes next. Oh. Well, good luck with the project. I hope you solve these issues. Ah, yeah, I made overlooked. And what's happening here? Bishop e6, 95 now. So I semi-solved it, but yeah, in the end this is crushing. Wait, what's a landslide? What's the word in Slovenian? Oh, my tourney. You. It's better you didn't check. I lost 30 points. Uh-huh. I think I know. Is it like Platz on German? Yeah, bishop d5. This, bishop e6. But yeah, if it's any consolation, fe works. Oh, this 95 works as well. It's less winning, but still. But I couldn't really make myself play this. But what's up with this? Oh, there's 95 now. Yeah, that's very crushing. From White's point. Okay, now I'm gonna go and I'll see you on Twitch later, I think. Just to share my link there and... No, plus. What does plus mean? I know what avalanche is, but lavina, yeah. But what is plus? Or play? I don't know. Maybe it's play. Maybe you're on some different keyboard. I don't know. Ah, you meant oh, so landslide is also avalanche. Okay. If it's that, then okay. Have a great day and see you. Bye.